other questions on here is, what do you consider when you're looking at a bid? And in some previous discussions, it came down to price first and then capabilities. But you mentioned a couple key things there, I think a little different, that I'd actually like to just hone in on a minute. You mentioned schedule, price, and performance. And in what order do you use that from?
Yeah, so I think if it's a quote true bid, at the end of the day, like a hard bid, you've got to focus on a scope of work. So we'll send out the scope of work ahead of time, and in theory, that's an alignment of scope, schedule, that equals your price. But I don't always get people to do that. Sometimes you get an unsolicited bid from somebody, and all I have is a price, and it happens to be substantially low. I'm not comfortable with it, so we're trying to, we'll make quick calls to make sure that, this company is, holds water and is going to be qualified. But at the end of the day, we're trying to vet all that out.
That's cool. Well, I'll get your opinion on this. One of the things I've told all of our subcontractors is we end up in some consulting ways sometimes. And we don't pay, people don't pay us to consult, but we're talking. And they'll say, I'm just frustrated, I can't get work for them. And I was like, well, what are you doing? And they go, I follow the RFP, I put in a bid. I said, well, what do you do to make your bid stand out? What do you say? And I'll tell them, I said, write a letter and tell them how they should read your bid. Like, give them your thought process behind it. Just bullet point out and say, look, I put this bid in, here's my price, this is why I derived it. If you notice, I have extra fee or extra schedule in here because of this, this, and this. And I think this particular way that this needs to be installed is X, Y, and Z. So I've allocated more to this than maybe others, and let them know your thought process. And I think it'll go a long way when you're bidding something out.
Yeah, 100%. So I would say our most reliable, we call them trade partners, we don't call them subcontractors, but they follow up on their bid proposals. To that end, I've even seen people come in and say, hey, I know that I'm going to be the low plumber, for example, but this is what I do day in and day out. Some of these other bidders don't work in this particular market. I know I've got this covered. And like you and I discussed, Scott, it could be a point in time where that company actually just needs that work, and it's going to work out okay, such that they come in with a little thinner margin. But the folks that, to me, sell at the end of the day, it's a service with a price and a firm scope and a firm schedule. That's a big difference than just getting an unsolicited bid with a price. And we have, we're the same way as general contractors. Most of the time, at least the work that we chase, is going to be a qualified based selection, which means we're trying to get to the table and have an interview. And that's where we can really differentiate ourselves, is in the interview process, because the people that buy our services are buying based on how you make them feel at the end of the day, not necessarily on what your fee and general conditions were. In fact, at the state level, they don't even, there's no fees until after award. So it is about what are those intangibles. And so, circling all the way back, if I get a trade partner that's really working hard to follow up his proposal or her proposal, is asking a lot of questions ahead of the bid, you can tell they're fully engaged and focused. That's a big differentiator. And our pre-construction guys, as they work together with the operations people, but when they're bringing people in for buyout, they're verifying to our team in-house that, hey, these guys really did a lot of work to get to this point. Let's make sure that we're giving them, our utmost attention.